or helped in the scheme, with the exception of the 4 people you see at the bottom row of this poster. Willie Rhodes, Shanice Rhodes, Shaquaya Cooper, and Eddie Yarn. As of this morning, we took the last 2 remaining individuals, Willie Rhodes, into custody in Hillsborough County, and Shaquaya Cooper was apprehended about an hour ago hiding under a bed in Manatee County. So all 8 of these individuals are currently in custody. The 4 at the bottom completed applications with false information for individual personal gain. Shanice Rhodes reported that she had been laid off and stated her income in 2020 was $0. She requested CARES funds for rental and utility assistance and was granted $5,000. A review of her income statement from 2020 confirmed that she was employed and did in fact earn a salary that year. Shaquaya Cooper lives in Manatee County, but used her friend's address in Sarasota County to apply for Sarasota CARES Act funds. Cooper reported her party planning business was impacted, and she requested $25,611 from Sarasota County. Willie Rhodes requested $42,000 for his consulting business. He also requested $15,000 in individual support. Mr. Rhodes does not have a consulting business, but what he does have are prior arrests for resisting with violence, fleeing to elude, aggravated stalking, and burglary involving a battery. The ringleader of the operation is Pariah Rhodes. SRQ Financial Solutions is registered under her name. She ran the operation and submitted the application on behalf of her clients. In total, more than $319,000 was released because of her applications. A few appear to be legitimate, the majority of which are fraudulent. Rhodes employed Maria Bradley, Nikki Shepard, and Raylyn Tillman in her business. On Thursday of last week, ironically April 15th, tax day, arrest warrants were issued for the 8 people you see here, and unfortunately this is just the beginning for our detectives as we begin to go through the material that we have seized in the search warrant. The remaining files and various applications still need to be investigated, including, as I mentioned, fraudulent tax documents and what appear to be false SBA or small business loans. It is our estimation that detectives have uncovered over $4 million in attempted CARES Act fraud here in Sarasota County. The Sheriff's Office is working closely with the United States Secret Service. Rick Dean, who's here with us, Special Agent in charge, Assistant to the Special Agent in charge, is with us here today, and we want to thank the Secret Service for their partnership. For those of you that don't know, we work very closely with the Secret Service. They helped us both in the analyzing of the electronic documents, and they actually had agents here to help us apprehend the 8 that you see on the board. Our agency is also working closely with the State Attorney's Office. Assistant State Attorney Andrew Van Sickle is here today to see that these criminals are brought to justice for their crime. We are also grateful to Sarasota County Government, County Administrator Jonathan Lewis, and Clerk of the Circuit Court and County Comptroller Karen Rushing for their vigilance in identifying this fraud on the front end, bringing it to the attention of our detectives and allowing us to investigate it. Without strong intergovernmental partnerships like this, cases like these may otherwise fall by the wayside, and often do. And I would be remiss if I didn't recognize the men and women of our criminal investigation section. We have some of the best detectives you see in the back of the room here with me here today in the state of Florida, and they have put in many, many days of effort to locate these individuals and to process these cases. The 2 lead detectives have been almost exclusively on this case since we received it, and obviously there is a significant amount of documentation to still review. So I want to thank you to all those that are involved behind me here today, to our media partners for covering the story. If your viewers had interaction with this business or any other business you believe is perpetrating fraud of any type, a CARES Act fraud in particular, please contact our criminal investigations section at 941-861-4900. So with that, I think Clerk Rushing wants to make a few comments, and then County Administrator Jonathan Lewis and Rick Dean from the Secret Service, and then we'll take some questions. Karen?
Thank you, Sheriff. I just want to thank, of course, the Sheriff, and just to let everyone know that it is really a team effort. The Clerk and Comptroller is the last stop where payments are made based upon eligible documentation. We have a fine team that worked on the CARES unit of fraud examiners and CPAs and accountants. And it really took all of us working together. I enjoy working with Jonathan Lewis. It was a team effort on his part and his fine team, and we're very happy to be supportive of the sheriff and all that he's done, and I thank him very much.
Thank you, Karen. Jonathan, you say a few words?
Thank you, Sheriff. Just briefly, our Board of County Commissioners, when they authorized how we were going to get the $74 million out into the community, they wanted it to be flexible, but they also said, make sure we're going after attempts at fraud when it's over. Whether it was the clerk and her good work and her team's good work in the review, our county employees and their review, but then the sheriff's office took so seriously, just like they do every day, the effort to find people trying to defraud the public. I can't thank the sheriff, the clerk enough, as well as the other partners who have been involved with this, but we couldn't have done it without them. And it's about protecting the community and public trust. So thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you, Jonathan. Rick?
Thank you, Sheriff. Good morning, everyone. The Secret Service is a proud partner with the Sarasota County Sheriff's Office. The hard work and determination of the investigators in this case is the reason we stand here today. The results of this investigation are a testament to our belief that building strong, trusted partnerships across the law enforcement community is a proven model for success. The Secret Service, along with partners like the Sarasota County Sheriff's Office, remain committed to aggressively protecting the nation's financial infrastructure from criminal opportunists who choose to exploit government programs designed to help and provide relief to the American public. Thank you.
With that, we will entertain some questions.
Sure.
Sam?
Obviously, the county and taxpayers are a victim in this crime, but it seems like there are other small businesses here that were victims whose applications were fraudulently submitted on their behalf. Was there any help provided to those businesses who might have legitimately been awarded some CARES Act funding to make sure that their proper applications were submitted?
So that funding run has ran the $75 million. But to your point, Sam, not only were the folks who came in trying to get some relief, if it was a small business, and then they got wrapped up in the fraud that was created by SRQ Financial Solutions, those folks that otherwise could have got those funds. So really, it is a double fraud on the taxpayers in that there may have been legitimate businesses out there that wanted it, didn't get it. And frankly, when this kind of fraud happens in the system, what happens is everything's got to stop and slow down, right? There were some applications that we had to kind of put the brakes on. So there are going to be folks that are hurt in this community because beyond even the fraud that was perpetrated by SRQ Financial, for sure.
And did everybody know that their names were being used for some of these applications, or was it a surprise to some people? Or?
As near as we can tell, Tim, those were folks that came in and asked to have help from the SRQ Financial, but they didn't understand really the extent of the fraud, as I mentioned, until they started looking at the profit and loss statements and some of the supporting documentations. And in one case, a business said we weren't even in business in 2019. This company did some pretty sophisticated document fraud. In talking to the detectives, there is some software there that they use to create all of this fraudulent tax records, profit and loss, SBA loans. So to your question, Tim, those folks came in seeking help and they got kind of wrapped up in this whole criminal episode.
And this one's for Mr. Lewis. If I'm not mistaken, the CARES Act, the money that goes out, if it was fraudulent, the taxpayers on the hook, or the county's now on the hook for the $4 million?
So we worked through a series of processes. We have a 5-step process that we did in reviewing the money. The $319,000 or so that the sheriff mentioned, some of those will turn out to be valid, and we'll continue to work on those. And then we work with our federal partners and through the state to make sure that we've done the right things. But one of the things that the state and federal government look at is the steps we put in place and how we are going after them. Again, that's what our board made clear from the beginning. If somebody does attempt fraud or does defraud, let's make sure that we're trying to hold them accountable. So we'll review that as we go through the process and work with our state and federal partners on that.
So there is potential that the county has to write a check and send it back to the federal government?
We'll know when we have a little bit more information on that.
Let me speak to that too. So just to follow up on that, Tim, the $4.1 million was attempted, right? I think through the efforts of Clerk Rushing's office and the folks over at the county, they stopped this rather quickly. The $319,000, some of that's going to be legitimate. So in terms of the percentage that got through the system and dispersed out of the $75 million that the county administered, I think is a testament to the processes that they had in place, the oversight by the clerk, and our ability to go in there and initially shut this down pretty quickly.
Through your investigation, obviously you guys found that this company was accused of committing fraud. Are there any other companies that you guys are looking into, obviously without relaying or giving away any of your investigation?
So with the sheer volume of it, this appears to be the largest. As I mentioned, we had nearly 200 false applications. This accounts for roughly 114. So we have about 90 other applications that we will now start to systematically go through. Those are primarily individuals and maybe some businesses, but don't appear to have, at least at this point, funneled through another company such as SRQ Financial Solutions. So there's still a significant amount of work. Detectives have been working all weekend trying to make sure we get all 8 of these folks in custody, and we can now definitively say we have them in custody. So as you can see, there's still a lot of work to do.
Sheriff, the ringleader in this case here at the top, has she been cooperative with this investigation?
So none of these individuals have been cooperative. The majority of them have invoked their constitutional right. There's been some brief discussions with one individual, but at this point, not traditional confessions that you would expect to see. Anybody else? Okay, thank you all, and if you would please put that number out there if there are any additional cases. That'll ring to our criminal investigation section, and we will put those at the top of our priority list to review. So thank you all again.
Good job.
Thank you, Sharon.